Dear students, this is Dr. N. Venkatachalapathi, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. I am going to discuss on stamping in a metal forming. So before going to discuss about stamping process, what is metal forming or metalworking process? In a metalworking process, generally whenever you can heat the metals to required temperature or above its required temperature, and by applying the pressure or force in order to change its shape, size, etc., whatever the amount of raw material can be effectively utilized at the end of the product process. The wastage of the material is negligible or minimum. This is the basic concept of mechanical working or metalworking process. In that, the stamping is the one of the most widely used technique where you can able to have different type of application in aeronautical and automobile and some stamping, what you call coins, etc. All these things can be done in this metal forming process. Now let us see the what is the introduction, basic introduction of the stamping. Look at in this metal stamping process, we have seen the variety of components and different type of materials like ferrous or non-ferrous and some different type of steels, chromium, stainless steel, and other hardened steels also available here. So wherever we are speaking about the stamping it is also called the pressing. Whenever even if you do a stamping means stamp pad also is there some whenever any designation, any professor or HOD and principal, you can able to stamp means you can able to apply some pressure. Whatever the letters displayed in that stamp pad, that can be as it is can be processed in the sheet or plate, etc. But the term stamping can be defined as it is the process of placing a flat sheet metal in either blank or coil into stamping press where the tool or die surface forms in a metal into a net shape. So, for example, stamping means a punched out part or making a hollow portions, and whatever the impression we would like to put in a sheet or plate, etc. That is called the stamping process. The stamping we can also call it as a pressing process. Stamping, or we can also call it as a pressing process. So in general, in this stamping process which comes under the metal forming or mechanical working of material. Why? Because whatever the amount of material can be effectively utilized to different type of applications. Okay, so here different type of pressing techniques. So in general, when wanted to apply pressure, obviously you can able to use manually. It is difficult to have that changes of its shape and size. Obviously, some automated or semi-automated presses also can be used. In general, the most widely presses are mechanical presses, screw press, hydraulic press, okay, pneumatic press. All this variety of presses can able to utilize it for changing of its shape and size as per the requirement of the industry and the customer. Yes or no? So that is why the basic introduction to the stamping is it is the process of placing a flat sheet either in a blank or coil type into a stamping press where a tool or die surface forms a metal into a net shape. So this is what we can see, some hollow portion and all that punched out, that is a blank part can be achieved and this curved shape. So different variety of parts can be done by metal stamping process. Okay, now let us see these are the different stages of stamping. So in general, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 stages. Look at the first stage, how will be the part. In the last stage, how it will be part in the final application of that component. Even you can see the different type of applications, even that what you call in a drop forging also, some connecting rod and crankshaft and some of the spanners and all, they can able to do different variety of operations. That is what drawing out and bending and blocking, and removing the materials and finishing. So different type of process can be used in order to achieve the final application component. Okay, and this stages of stamping, which include, it is a single stage operation where every stroke of the press produces a desired form. Either it may be a square or rectangular or any polygonal shape on the sheet metal part, or it could occur through a series of stages. This is a series of stages. Look at in this component, so there will be different type of holes and some elliptical shape and a different curve shape, L shape. So variety of polygonal shapes can be obtained. Some S type shape. So all these comes under the. It is having a number of different variety of operations also will be there. That is why this stamping obviously it required number of stages. Each first stage we wanted to make a hole means punching can be done. Punching means making of the halos or piercing. This is also called the piercing. And some curve shaped, there is bending process. And how we can able to change the complex or lancing type also. All this comes under the cold working process. Here there is no heat at all. It is also comes under the cold working process also. Okay. And the term stamping, once again, it can be defined as it is the process is usually carried out on a sheet metal or a plate, but it can also be used on other materials also, such as polystyrene, PVC, and polycarbonate, etc., depending upon our application, not only for ferrous and non-ferrous metals, sometimes polymeric material, plastic material, and some ceramics also can be widely used in the making of the stamping techniques. Okay, so this is what about the various stages of stamping. Obviously, any type of component can able to have the final step. It needs required a lot of stages. The stages only can vary. Different type of shapes like circular, elliptical shape, or curved shape, or L shape, or U shape, or some complicated shapes also can be obtained by this stamping process only. Okay, so this is what about the different type of stages of the stamping. Now let us see in the stamping process. Majorly, it comes to the basic principle involved in the sheet metal forming process. You know, this called stamping includes. This stamping includes variety of sheet metal forming manufacturing process, such as punching using a machine press. So some punching machine. Okay, even for a paper, filing the white sheets in a file, you can put some huh, uh, punching press, so that the hollow exactly amount of this is what how the punched out. This is a hollow shape. It is a piercing process. Punched out part is called the blanker parts. Okay, and let us see by seeing the diagram, you can clearly understand the basic concept of the blanking, embossing, bending, flanging, and coining also. Okay, let us see any type of press working operations. In any type of press working operation, the first you can see the first method is there will be one rectangular sheet is there. So in that, when you apply some force and pressure in a sheet, so here, in this case, this halo, this part will come out outside. Okay. Now we can see the making of the halo portion. So this is called workpiece. This is called scrap. Okay. So that is called punching or piercing process. Punching or piercing is a metalworking process where you can able to apply the force and pressure into forming some series of holes, so that making the hole is a workpiece, external part and all scrap. Okay, and coming to the blanking is just opposite to that of the piercing or punching process. So blanking means this is workpiece. Okay, so you can see the blanking means okay. So this is workpiece. This is a scrap. That is the scrap. That is what just opposite that of the piercing or punching process. And notching also some at the end, at the middle, and a different triangle or some polygonal shape also can be removed at the end of the workpiece. That is called notching. And lancing means exactly one set of piece can be cut, make a cut lancings. In general, even the pressing machines also, they can able to cut the white paper like lancing. The blade should be very sharp. Whatever the amount of material of the paper or sheet, anything, it can be cut exactly at a time to large thickness or small thickness also. This is what how the lancing can be done. See, it is a rectangular shape, and exactly this plunger or force can be applied together. That shape, only whatever the shape, can be able to tilt. Okay, so this is what about the lancing operation. These are the four basic important press working operations. One is the punching or piercing, and second one is the blanking, and third most important is notching, and finally lancing. So these are the press working in a metal working process. And this also, the effective amount can be utilized with the variety of our engineering applications. Okay, so that is what about the sheet metal forming process. In that, one of the most important widely used is piercing, blanking, notching, and lancing process. Let us see the all stamping usually done in a cool metal sheet. So let us see the in a industry hot metal and a forging. So how we will perform forging for a hot metal forming operations. So in general, you can see the even it is a automated, fully automated machines are available. And here this red-hearted steel. So red-hearted steel can keep in this heavy tonnage of press. So by applying the press, applying the force or pressure on that workpiece, obviously it can change the shape and size, and whatever the required form for application can able to perform. So this also comes under the open die forging. In general, in any forging process, it basically classified into two types. One is the open die forging, closed die forging. Open die forging, it is not having good dimensional accuracy. Closed die forging only will have a good dimensional accuracy, exact dimension, and mirror like surface finish can be obtained in this forging. That is a closed die forging process. So that is why I have put this three-dimensional diagram for this forging. So these are the presses. It is a hydraulic press where you can apply the pressure, how much tonnage of pressure is required to change the shape. When it is a hot rolled mill, means apply the very nominal pressure. If it is a cool or at the room temperature metal, can be, you can keep the lot of pressure and force is required to in order to change the shape and size. That is why you are supposed to focus on the how the forging can be defined, and what are the different type of forging techniques, what are the various metal forming operation used in forging process. Okay, so I hope already I'll study in detail in another YouTube video about the what is forging, what the different classification of the forging, and how the forging process like what you call smith forging, press forging, machine forging, and draw forging. These are the four widely used manufacturing techniques in order to produce a good commodity items. Okay, so this is what about the hot metal forging used in a cold metal sheet, or it usually in a stamping process in a draw pressure. Okay, now let us see the how we can able to introduce the hot forging process. So in general, hot rolling can be defined as it is the metal shaping process involves malleable metal part known as billet or workpiece, and it can be worked to a predefined shape by one or more process such as hammering, upsetting, pressing, and some drawing, finishing, etc. All these processes can be obtained this open die forging only. Open die forging. So look at these are the original coarse grain structure which can be transformed into a elongated grains or recrystallization grains and growth of new fine grains. So this diagram itself, it can be self-explanatory, but even though how we can able to explain the principle of open die forging. So this is the open die. You can keep the workpiece in between two sheets or plates and then apply the pressure. Obviously, when it is in above its recrystalline temperature, we call it as a hot forging process. When it is a cold or at the room temperature, we call it as a the cold working or cold rolling process. Okay, so this is what about the how the hot forging can be defined as the metal shaping process. It is a metal shaping process in which the malleable metal part known as the billet or workpiece. This is called billet or work, and it is worked into a predefined shape. It is worked into a predefined shape by one another process such as hammering. You see, so even any these are the annual. Here they can give the workpiece, and here they can apply the. Okay, so like that, how they can able to apply force and pressure into the workpiece in order to change the shape, the size and shape, and also growth of new fine grains also can be obtained in any type of metalworking or mechanical working processes. So I hope the student can understand clearly about this hot forging also. This is what about the how we can able to perform metal stamping process and different variety of the press working operations and various stages of stamping techniques and general process of the stamping. So this is what about the student can able to understand clearly the metal stamping process. Even in some cases, the based on our applications, we can able to think about how can able to perform the simple stamping procedure. So obviously you can see in the stamp, even the postal department also can keep some stamp. That also it is a pressing or stamping. Stamping can be obtained. So a simple definition or technical definition of the stamping is it is the process of placing a flat sheet in either blank or coil to form into a stamping process where the tool and die surface finish or surface forms at the metal into some net shape. So these are the some variety type of metal stamping applications like this hollow portion, and this also some blank shape also can be obtained, and this is what about the stamping process, and these are the various stages involved in this stamping process. This could be a single stage operation, sometimes it is a multi-stage also, or series of the stages depending upon our use and application. Okay, and the process is usually carried out on a sheet metal only, but it can be also used to other materials such as polystyrene, PVC and polycarbonate, etc. And these are the four important efficient press working operations like piercing and blanking. The simple comparison between the piercing and blanking is piercing is simply making the hollow portion. How we will make the hollow portions in a sheet or billet or ingot. And in the case of blanking means you can apply pressure. This is the workpiece. Inside is the what you call the wastage of the material. Okay, now that is what about the blanking. And this is also notching. Notching means it can perform at the end. Lancing means it acts as like a cutter. So we will cut the material in one direction. Either it is a what you call what type of the bending and planing and coining operations also can be performed in the press working operations. Now these are the some basic industrial experience. So this is the hydraulic press compresses of large amount of the financial importance, and this red hotted steel. This is called red hotted. steel metal, how you can able to changes its shape by application of the pressure in a hydraulic pressure, pneumatic pressure, any type of process to be used to improve this thing. Okay, so this is what about the stamping, which is usually done on a cold metal sheet, and these are the some forging for hot metal forming operations. So this already I explained about the, when you wanted to discuss in hot forging, you can see here also some what you called sharp corners, and the color indication. This can be done in a what you call some AutoCAD and SolidWorks software also. And wherever that red color is there, it can be uniform, and if the yellow color is, it is very improper. The plastic deformation cannot be occurred at this stage, and original coarse grain structure will be transformed to new coarse grain, that is equiaxed grains, which process will call it as a recrystallization, and growth of new fine groups. So this is what interesting. Whenever the grain growth can be applicable to new fine grains can be obtained. Okay, and plastic deformation means when the plastic deformation occurs in the any material, it will be elongated the grains. And this is what about the basic principle in art forging and art metal operation. Okay, I hope the student can clearly understand the in metal forming process. In that stamping is the one of the most widely used process, and in order to produce some variety of components, so that it can be useful for the student to deliver in a competitive examination, or even if you attend the any interview, government sector or some MNC company written people, they are asking how best you have a knowledge in stamping process. Okay, how best you can able to perform this stamping process. Whereas what you called this can be open die forging. This is called open die forging. How the forging for a hot metal forming operations can be performed in a smooth manner. And this is what about the introduction to the hot forging. So most probably when you are thinking about the hot forging, heat the metal above its recrystalline temperature, and in order to improve the better mechanical or electrical properties can be obtained in this hot forging. Okay, I hope all the students can understand clearly in any type of metal forming process. I am delivered the lecture on the stamping process, which is really useful applications in industry or in sometimes household also. Okay, so this is what about the basic introduction to the hot forging process. So in the next class, I am going to give another topic in this area, and all these manufacturing processes are one of the most important sectors. So nowadays every student or every faculty can diverting the software. Why? Because with they have a lot of freedom. 5 days work should be allotted, and in that work only whatever the some useful for that employee, that type of work only they are doing. So that is why in coming days, if you have a full concept on any type of subject, either it may be computer science or mechanical engineering or CSE or EC or IoT or data science, etc., but your duty to identify your what you call recrystallization. Okay, and let us see the original coarse grain structure will transform into a plastic deformation, and the equicrystalline grains and growth of the new grains can be multiply used and utilized effectively. Okay, so thank you, student. Thank you for understanding the stamping process. And in the next class, I'm going to discuss on some other metal forming related topics. Okay, so thank you, students. Good luck.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.